So if you're a business owner or a startup and you're looking forward to creating a website, okay, so here are some things that you need to take note of before you pay someone to build your website for you. So either you're hiring us for your website design or just any other website designers. So you have to take note of some of these things that I'm going to be highlighting in the course of this video, okay? Also, at the end of this video, I'm also going to be giving you a checklist that you can download so that you can go through them on your own when deciding on your website design, all right? So before we get started, if you are new to the channel, can you go ahead and click on the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel. Do also give the video a thumbs up. All right. So like you can see on this first slide, it says just a practical guide for business owners. So what are the things you need to ask? What are the things you need to check? What to clarify before you pay? So these are some of the things that is very important for you to take note of as a business owner, so that moving forward, you should know what to expect either during the course of the web design and at the end of the website design process. Okay, so you can see if you're about to spend $500, $100, or $3,000 or more on a business website, there are things you need to understand before you pay a website designer. Okay, so getting a website is not necessarily the same thing as getting a website that helps your business. All right, they are two different things. It's a different thing to have a website, and it's another thing to have a website that is actually helping your business. That means a website that is bringing you leads, that is bringing you sales, and definitely that is the aim of most of the websites that you want to create. Okay. Now, these are what are we going to cover? It says 7 things to check before you pay. Number one, know what you are paying for. We are still going to look at all of these things in details. The second one says don't choose based on the price. The third one says ask to see previous work. Let them show you their portfolio. Ask who owns the website. Ask what SEO is included. Ask to see the mobile version, and ask what happens after launch. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of these things. Now, the first one says know what you're actually paying for. Okay, so website can mean very different thing from one designer to the next. Okay, so you need, first thing, as a business owner, you need to know what actually are you paying for. Okay, so most of the web design comes in package. We have our package for our web design and service. So you have to know what's really in the package that you are paying for. Does it include the design? These are some of the things that you need to take note of. Is it the design, the development, hosting, and then domain name? Because these two are very important. Okay, is hosting and domain included in the package? And if at all it is included, you have to know what's the duration of the hosting and the domain name, all right? Because they require renewal annually. Okay, so you also have to know what's included. Is copywriting included? As copywriting can include the website content, okay, and is SEO included? Images, maintenance, okay. So is maintenance included in the package? And if maintenance is included, you need to know what's the duration of the maintenance. Is it going to be monthly? Is it going to be annually? Okay, then security, analytics, conversion optimization, and then support. Okay, so once the website is done, are you going to be getting support? You need to know these are the things that you need to actually check in the package. Are you going to be getting support? If at all you are going to be getting support, what's the duration of the support you are going to be getting? Is it immediately the website is completed, or what is it after service support you are going to be getting? And then if at all you're going to be getting it, is it coming at a fee? Has the fee been included in the package? So these are some of the things that you need to also know if it is included in the package. All right, so now let's go to the next one. It says don't choose based only on price. Okay, a low price isn't automatically a bargain. A high price isn't automatically better. Okay, so the fact that it's cheap doesn't mean you're getting a good deal, and then the fact that it's very expensive doesn't mean you're getting the best, or you'll be getting the best. Okay, so now let's look at in terms of price. So we have to look at a comparison, like cheap website versus good value website. So in terms of the cheap website, what you're going to be getting is a low upfront cost. It may lack strategy or customization. All right, it might skip SEO functions, may skip performance and mobile optimization, may lack a real conversion structure. Support may be limited. All right, so that is why you have to be careful if you are choosing based on price. Now, if you are choosing a cheap option, that doesn't mean the web designer doesn't know how to create a good website. Okay, but because you are looking for something cheap, and then you might be faced with some of these things. They might just skip SEO process. They might not even want to spend too much time in using good customization. They might not be available to provide you with support because you are looking for something cheap. All right, so you need to take note of that. Then in terms of good value, there's always going to be a clear strategy behind the design. All right, for example, there's always a motive behind every website design. For example, maybe the color, for example, they might want to use a particular color, a particular theme based on your industry, or based on the product, or based on the services. Once you are looking forward to getting a good value, then they'll have to put all of these things into place, like sensible SEO foundation in place, mobile optimization, fast performance, built around a real conversion, reliable, defined post-launch support. Okay, so these are some of the things you're going to get if you are considering value and you are not really looking forward to getting a cheap website. All right, so the next thing is for you to ask for their previous work. Okay, so don't judge a portfolio only from screenshots. Okay, so what that means is that you should ask them to send you the links to their previous work. It's very important. Okay, number one, can you visit the live website? So if you are hiring a web designer and you are asking them to show you their previous work and they are sending you screenshots, no, ask them to send you live link, okay, so that you can also view the website, you view it on your desktop, you view it on your mobile phone, and see that, okay, these people are actually good, they have good record. You see, what was your role on each project? Have you worked with businesses like mine? So you should also ask them, have they worked with businesses that are similar to yours? Now, while this might not be a major factor, okay, because the fact that they've not worked in an industry the same thing with you doesn't mean they won't deliver, okay, but it's also important to ask, okay, did you personally build them? Can you explain the design decision? Can I see examples on mobile? Okay, so these are some of the things you also need to ask them, okay, in terms of to show if they are really good and to know what you should expect from them. Okay. So number 4 on our list, they say ask who owns the website. Okay, so avoid a situation where you are completely dependent on one person holding all the keys. Okay, so before you pay, clarify who controls what. All right, so these are another important factors. Okay, so personally on our hand, what we do is once we are done with website, we always give our clients all access to the website. We send you all the login details and every other information you need about the website, which gives you total control. However, I know of some other web design agency or some web designer personal that they don't send it, and it's always, however, that's the strategy for them to make sure that you always keep coming back. But then as a business owner, you need to know all of these, that okay, who is actually controlling it, who, okay, so who controls the domain name, who controls the hosting, how about the website file and content, premium themes, plugins and licenses, admin access to your site. Okay, personally we always give access to admin access to the site, but one thing that I will always tell them that make any changes, because what some clients can do is they are not so familiar with using maybe the CMS we are using, and can just, because they have the login, they might just go in and then damage, you know, one or two things. Now if such a thing happen and you're coming back to us, we are going to charge you a fee for that. It's pretty much straightforward. Okay, so you also need to know what you are going to be getting, backup, and how future transfer works. Okay, so these are one other thing in terms of ownership and access. So number 5, ask what SEO is included. Okay, SEO is quite wide, so you have to know what SEO package is actually included in whatever web design you are doing, especially at the beginning. Okay, so you can see this basic SEO setup. This is definitely supposed to be part of the launch, but you need to know if it is included. For example, page title and meta description, the heading structure, the image optimization and alt text, XLM, the sitemap, indexable checks, schema and structured data, analytic and search control setup. So you have to also know if this is going to be there. Now, by default, you know, in every basic website design, these are fundamental SEO that should be included. Okay, but then if you are looking for a cheap website, you might not be getting this. So you need to also be sure what exactly is going to be there. And again, you might also be paying premium and you still not be getting this, because this is more than this. Okay, all right. So in terms of ongoing SEO, okay, remember this is just a one-off kind of like SEO setup, especially at the beginning. But moving forward, you also need to know in terms of keyword and competitive research, content strategy and creation, authority link, iteration over months, not days. Okay, I'm just picking them randomly. Okay, so there's a caution here. A good design should never guarantee a Google ranking simply because of basic setup is included. Okay, now this alone is not enough to rank your website. Fine, you can get a good number of traction if it is done properly. Okay, but you know, SEO needs to be ongoing something, an ongoing something. Okay, so that is it on basic setup and ongoing work. Now number 6 is, guys, if you are finding value, please give the video a thumbs up. All right, so ask to see the mobile version. Okay, it looks great on my laptop is not enough. All right, now we are in an era where people access the internet or any website mostly on their phone. A larger percentage of us access our website on our phone. So some websites will look good on desktop, and once you switch to mobile, they are not very responsive. The layout, the text, and everything is out. So you need to be sure that your website is looking good on mobile version, because that is where most of your customers are going to be checking in from. They are also going to be buying on, especially it's an e-commerce website. Okay, so is the layout responsive on phone? So when they say website is responsive, that means it appears well, the text are in place, the image and everything are in place. Is the navigation easy to use, right? So are the menus easy to accessible? Can you find them easily, right? Then do click to call or contact links to work. Okay, so you also need to confirm all the links on your mobile. Do they work? Are buttons and link easy to tap? All right. So because since it is mobile, some might be just too small that you can't, that visitor might find difficulty in clicking them. So these are the things you also need to check out for in terms of mobile and user experience. Okay, are forms easy to complete? Okay, and then can visitor find the main action fast? Okay, so every website should have a call to action. Do you want them to make a call? Do you want them to buy? Do you want them to book a meeting? Okay, so you have to have a website that they don't need to scroll to the end. In fact, from the first container, from the first section, they should be able to know what your business is all about, and they should be able to take an action. Maybe it's to call you, maybe to place an order, to book for a meeting, or to do for a consultation or anything. Okay, so these are some of the things you also need to look out for in terms of mobile responsiveness. So last on the list is what happens after launch. Okay, a website is not necessarily finished the moment it goes live. So once the website is done, what happens next? Okay, so that's what, let's look at that. So these are things, you said what to clarify before you sign. Okay, so you have to know who handles updates. All right, you need to be sure who's going to be handling the update, and in handling the updates, is there a fee for it, and what's the fee for that? You need to know if the fee for handling updates has been included in the initial package, and if I thought it has been included, what's the duration of handling the updates. Okay, so are backups included? Who manage hosting? Okay, what support is included, and for how long? Okay, you can see I mentioned this earlier, that how long are you going to be getting support? You need to know. Okay, is the support you are going to be getting, is it immediately the website has been launched? Okay, is it going to be a full year support? Okay, so these are the things you need to know as a business owner before going ahead to get a website. Then who handles security monitoring? Who fixes bugs after launch? Okay, there are chances that, okay, your website might experience bug. Okay, so who is going to fix it? Okay, you need to, as a business owner, you need to know then, okay, in fixing bugs, what's going to be the cost implication? Now, there might not be a direct cost implication because you never can tell what kind of bug that you might experience in the future and how technical it might be. But these are the questions you need to ask. Are content change included, and how many? This is very important. Okay, that's okay. As a business owner, you might want to add information or take out some information or do one or two updates. How many of these can you get in a month, and they be free? Will they come with a price tag? Or if it's going to be free, how many free slots can I get in a month, or depending on the duration that the web designer is offering you? Okay, so what does ongoing maintenance cost? All right, so these are the things you need to take note of, because definitely in terms of maintenance, it's going to come at a fee, except if the web designer has added the maintenance cost at the initial package. And definitely, even if they've added it, it's going to be for a particular duration. It's going to be for a duration of 6 months. It's going to be annually. Okay, so those are the things you need to take note of. All right. So red flag to think twice about. Okay, vague deliverables or verbal only promises. Okay, no live portfolio examples. Now, while this is very important too, some person might deliver well, especially if the person is still a new web designer without too many portfolio. Okay, they might still be able to deliver, but you need to also watch out for this. No clear revision or approval process. Once they refusal to explain ownership or assets. So once we are asking them some of these questions that we have looked at, or some of these things I've mentioned, and they are not being direct, they are not being able to explain better, then you need to also watch that as a red flag. Okay, guaranteeing ranking without context. Okay, if they are just telling you that don't worry, we are going to create a website for you that's going to rank on first page of Google, without like we have here, without guaranteeing ranking without context, then that should be a red flag. Okay, pressure to pay before you understand the scope. Okay, so if the web designer is placing you under pressure for you to just make payments, without trying to understand what you want to do, or without asking you some of the important questions that they need to ask you, then you need to also see that as maybe it might just be a red flag. Okay, so one red flag may not tell the whole story, but several deserve real question. Okay, so these are another, you can see, save this slide, 10 questions to ask your web designer. And don't worry, in the description of this video, I'm going to be leaving a link to a checklist that you also need to have when you are looking forward to hire a web designer. Okay, what's included in the package, who owns the domain, who owns the website, is hosting included? So you have to know, is hosting included in the package or in the price that you have been given? Is SEO included, and what does it mean? Okay, so you also need to be sure what does the SEO aspect covers. Okay, you have on page, off page SEO. Maybe you're going to also provide you with Google My Business listing. You know, you need to also confirm all of this information. Then is copyright thing included? Now, this is a very important part that I always ask. Okay, on my own hand, if I'm working on a website for a client, are you providing the content for the website? Because sometimes some of the business owner, they actually have the contents that they want to use for their website because they are very familiar with their business. They know what they want. Okay, we can only try our best as a web designer to do our research and see contents that best fits. Okay, but you know, once they provide their content, it helps us understand what to do and how best to do it. So is copywriting included? Is the website mobile optimized? How many revisions are you going to get? And you also need to ask your web designer this question: what happens after launch and what support is available? Okay, so you also need to take note of this as a business owner to also ensure that you ask your web designer. All right, so these are all the information that you need to know. These are everything you need to know as long as a business owner that want to get a website. Okay, the website hiring checklist, every question from this video in one printable checklist, so you can walk into any quote or conversation prepared. Okay, so that means I have a checklist where you can get all of these questions. Okay, so you can go through them when you are hiring a web designer. I'll leave the link to it in the description of this video so that you can download it. All right, so guys, I hope you find value in this. If you do, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you have any other question as far as hiring a web designer is concerned, do let me know in the comment section. And if you also want to hire our service as a web design, and if you also want to hire our service for your web design project, feel free to get in touch with us. You can see our contact information right here. All right, so thank you very much for watching. My name is Prosper, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.